What's up, guys? We're here. Another episode of the Discipline and Legacy podcast. I got my buddy Chuck Day. Flew down from Cincinnati, Ohio. This guy's got an amazing story, amazing testimony. Comes from the bottom, comes from addiction, and just turned that mindset of, I say that all the time, man. If we take the mindset of when we were ripping and running and take half of that energy and put it towards positive, anything's possible. And that's what this man did. And super, super fortunate. We had a little. The enemy was trying to block this thing from happening, but we still were able to sit down today on this beautiful Sunday, and I appreciate you coming, man. Thank you for taking the trip.
Yeah, I appreciate you for being patient with me, man. Flying into Miami, doing one podcast, and needing to come here too. We had the UFC fight that we went to, which was like phenomenal, nothing that I could ever dream of.
Right.
When I was using, I was stuck on a 4-block radius, and now I'm sitting in, the Miami Heat's basketball stadium.
Yes, sir.
Watching title fights, watching Donald Trump come in.
Was he there?
He was there.
Wow.
And I actually, I was expecting for him to be there.
Yeah.
Because he's real good friends with Dana White. I said, I bet you Trump's going to be here. Before you know it,
his house is Mar-a-Lago, so it's only, hop, skip, and a jump.
It ain't too far, man. And like in active addiction, I could never imagine a life like that. Being able to come and enjoy that and then get here with you and you being patient with me. We didn't let the devil in, the enemy in. Like, this is God's time, and I believe that wholeheartedly.
Yes, sir.
And now we're here. My testimony is all, I give all the glory and credit to God.
Amen.
First and foremost. So I am a person that identifies being in long-term recovery. We have, right? I can never do it, by myself. I do it, with powerful people like yourself, and to stay connected, to stay protected. But we celebrated 11 years, 2014. So we're coming up on 12 years. I was just talking in the car right here that I'm coming up on 15 years. I used for 15 years.
Wow.
And now a few more years. I'll have 15 more years, so that's a good balance.
Yeah.
I'll definitely choose this 15 over the last 15.
That's right.
Tested and tried through the fire. I grew up, poor, grew up fairly, lower class, mother, alcoholic, drank every day of her life, never had a job, never had a license, never had a car, lived in Section 8. Father, drug dealer, raising us, and, doing his best, doing all he could and all he knew. And eventually my mom and my dad separated, and he became a single father of 3 and stopped that lifestyle and started working, a lot. And he taught me a lot about work ethic. And back then, I couldn't see for what it's worth. I always thought, we were unfortunate, but I know now that my dad worked,
Right.
Provided, put everything on the table. Now my mom, she just had alcoholism, and she had disease. She had mental health. She had substance use disorders. She had everything that I told myself that I was never going to have, because, you see it. You're like, oh, I don't never want to become that. And the truth be told, I became way worse than her. But we had a friendship. Not really a mother, brother, or a mother, son relationship. And we would get high together. She wouldn't let me in the house unless I had drugs for her. And there was one time vividly I remember, I had a bunch of ecstasy, and I come in and I'm like, high on ecstasy, and I shut the door and I'm trying to go to bed because I got school the next morning. She's banging on the door because it was Mother's Day and I didn't know what to give her. So I gave her a few X pills.
Wow.
And she, she was rolling in the middle of the night, banging on the door, and she said, I need someone to talk to. I said, I'm sleeping, trying to sleep at least because I got school.
Right.
And I finally let her in. She just wanted another pill, and that was our relationship, and rest in peace. I love my mom. I know she always wanted the best for me, always told me, the right things to do, but we learn through our what we see more than what we are told to do. What people model around us. That's why I'm trying my best to be the best parent I can to my kids. So today I have 2 biological kids, 4 bonus kids. I have a fiance, beautiful family, way different than what it looked like growing up. My sister's still in active addiction. My brother, he shot himself in the chest under the influence of cocaine. My mom drank herself to death. Mother of my daughter, she died by a drunk driver. So like this has been real
Wow.
personal for me. When I was able to stop using, like to get my life straight,
Right.
be the example, be the one that actually changes the generation. So, but I started using when I was 12. I got involved in the street life pretty quick. Dad, lack of mentorship. Dad mentored me, but he was gone a lot, working a lot. So, gravitated to the street guys, and they didn't have no real mentorship.
No.
So it's like the blind leading the blind, and I thought it was the cool thing to do. I thought, that's what I wanted. I wanted to be the drug dealer. Even at that age, I remember starting to sell crack cocaine when I was 12 and marijuana and pills and everything else. And like, I wanted to help my dad, provide
Yeah.
for the house. And at that age, like, you can't even get a job. Like, so you look, and you see like what you can do, like, out of like, wanting to be the hero of the house. We play our role in the house, and that's what I sought out to do. And I got involved in selling drugs pretty quick and sold drugs for a large period of my life. I mean, every drug you could probably think of, from heroin to crack cocaine to coke to mushrooms to ecstasy to making chocolate mushrooms, out of pills, every pill.
Yep.
And my drug addiction started, with alcohol, marijuana, and it progressed to pills, and it progressed to, all these other drugs. But I didn't realize I really had a drug problem until I was introduced with Oxycontin.
Mm.
So that's, we're the same age, so that was pretty, intense at the time, because I knew I could take a lot of Vicodins and Percocets and but like when my friend introduced me to OxyContin for the first time, I think we split a 40.
Yep.
And I threw up everywhere. And I was like, I'm never doing that drug again. And I was real dead serious. Like, and the next day I woke up and I was like, can you get another one of them pills? And I was just off to the races. And the Oxycontin age was very, I wanted to be that guy that had everything everyone needed.
Right.
And I wanted to, have, control of every prescription that came through in my, surrounding areas, to be able to be like the man that could always have my own supply and supply everyone else. But that addiction grew pretty quick. And I went from like doing like 140 a day to doing like 680s a day. It became a very expensive habit. So at that point, I was like, in my mind, I'm going to stop selling, right? Or I'm going to stop doing Oxycontin. I'm going to go to the methadone clinic, right? And I'm just going to sell the Oxycontin. And I went to the methadone clinic and I got addicted to methadone. And in that whole time frame, I got addicted to benzos really bad.
Yes, sir. That was part of the doctor mills, right? You'd leave there with your oxys or your roxys, and they also would give you 140 Xanax bars to go with it and some somas.
Yeah.
Sure. Here you go. What was that? So that time frame, that age, were you? Because we're the same age, so I'm trying to like picture it in my mind, like when that was for me.
Yeah.
So that was like mid-20s, early 20s?
Probably
or
18, 19, 20.
Okay.
Yeah, 18, 19, 20 at that stage.
That 21, because that's when I got clean the first time, was at the age of 21. But my bottom at that time was oxys, roxys, and Xanax. Like
Xanax.
the time that I got clean when I was 21, like I didn't even know I was detoxing.
Yeah.
But like I'm laying on my parents' couch for 3 days, just felt like I was sick, like I had the flu or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Guts hurting, throwing up, and but that was that time frame, and I ended up staying clean from 21 to 27. So like, had I still been using, I think I would have been caught up in that whole pill mill era, but I was just trying to kind of figure out that time frame.
So I was about 18, 19, 20. And we had people running to Florida, bringing a lot of prescriptions back for us. And the methadone clinic would say, do not mix benzodiazepines with your medication. What did I do? I did exactly that. And I developed a pretty big habit doing probably 20 Xanaxes a day, 30 Xanaxes a day, and I ended up getting incarcerated.
Were you drinking with them too?
I would definitely drink. That's probably the only time I would drink.
Was when you had Xanax.
It's when I had them. Because they just went together.
And
it
made
it worse.
Made it worse.
I remember I woke up one day in the middle of the yard in a lawn chair, far away from my house, not knowing how I got there. There were so many times I just blacked out, woke up, and the first thing I would do is just look around, let's see what happened this time. So,
Yep.
Before I got clean this time, that happened to me. I had a fleeting looting from the police.
Yeah.
Operated vehicle without consent, a DUI, a hit and run, and
All
and I
while
woke
under
up
the
in the Justice Center, and they just read off all these charges. I'm like, oh shit.
Telling them you didn't remember it doesn't count.
Right.
Like it was like if I don't remember it, that don't mean nothing. But like, hey, that don't fly in the justice system.
Yeah,
We got you on video. Like,
yeah,
yep, that's me. I can't say no to that one.
They had it in the police video chasing me.
Yeah, man,
and I was trying to get away because I had a bunch of heroin on me, and thank God, I was able to pull the cigarette, ashtray down and hide it in the engine, and I didn't get caught for that.
So you got a bunch of other stuff,
but didn't get other stuff, and got away with the possession. It would have been trafficking. It was more than the bulk amount, and I just see God all over. I remember the Xanaxes, the methadone was hard coming off of. I detoxed in the Justice Center before. It feels like you got night crawlers all over you. The heroin withdrawal was pretty bad too, but nothing like the benzos. I was in the Justice Center. I was coming off the Xanaxes, and I had a seizure. Half my body shut down. I flopped off the rack. They had to rush me to the hospital, and I had to come back. And there's not a lot of that you can do right away.
No, that's not one of the only drugs, and other than, and I worked in detox. The worst I've ever seen anybody come off of, and I worked there for 3-4 years, man, and was. One of them was somebody who was just was an alcoholic for years, like steady alcoholic that just functioned. It was a firefighter, actually. And I had never seen anybody detox that bad. And the other detox that was the worst was a benzodiazepine detox. You can die from it.
Yeah, I seen my mom come off alcohol before. I'd visit her at the hospital. She'd blow up like a fish. Her skin would blow up. Yeah, she'd be like, you got my bottle, Chuck?
And you give them one sip of alcohol and everything subsides. And it's so crazy that you get to that point where your body is so dependent on a substance that you're better off just having it inside of your body. And this guy, he was better off drinking. He was a grown man was shitting himself and pissing himself but then you take one and switch it to the other and it's
it has the reverse effect. When I came off the Xanaxes, my anxiety was through the roof.
Yeah.
And you were referring to, and that first, year.
And then when you go in the justice system, they don't care.
Today they give them everything.
Well, not me, man. I was laying on the floor.
Not when I was in jail, right? But now they give them Suboxone. They give them in Cincinnati. Yeah,
I guess they've come around and to realize that, because that whole our age group, our era of growing up in it, of the opiate pandemic was.
They'd be lucky to get a trazodone. Yeah. It was bad.
They just monitor you, stick you in a room with 10 other people detoxing, and make sure the camera was on.
And 9 out of 10's detoxing.
Yeah.
So that makes it even worse when you're not the only one. So yeah, test it and try it through the fire, and I went through that phase and. I got in trouble a lot, and I remember wanting to get clean, not knowing how to get clean. Never had any success getting clean.
Were you in and out of 12-step in that time of your life?
No, I didn't really get into 12 steps until I was 23. Yeah, that's when I first started trying to get clean. So.
Was that court ordered or was that voluntary?
It was volunteered. Yeah, volunteered. Treatment was court ordered. And then I learned about the 12 steps. I learned about the 12 steps originally when I had aggravated trafficking, aggravated possession, 5 times the bulk amount. And I ended up going to River City. I did 8 months. And there was a guy by the name of Ivan that ran one of the sober livings. He came in and did an NA meeting. First time I was ever introduced to Narcotics Anonymous, and that was the highlight of the day. I was always looking for a 12-step meeting. I was always going to church. I was always working out. But even then, I was in there selling a lot of dip and trading and
still living dirty.
Still living dirty.
Yeah.
And I couldn't wrap my head around the whole concept. I had to take it in a little bit at a time, and that's where I was introduced to it. I remember getting released from that after doing that time in jail. And I remember like wanting to have a different lifestyle. I went to the church and I went to the altar and I sat there and I begged God for help, like to change me.
This was in the church or in the jail? Or
After I got released, the
okay.
day I got out, right? Because
Okay.
they would always say, go to a 12-step meeting your
Right,
first day
right.
out. So I'm getting out, right? Looking for a 12-step meeting. My house, the church is right next door. Like, that obsession's on me. I'm getting released, right? That obsession's on me. I haven't used while I was incarcerated. I was able to stop, and that's normally not the case. And I was, like, finding freedom incarcerated.
Right.
And I get out, and, like, just that obsession was on me all over again. And I went into the church, and I prayed to God, asking for, some type of help. But at the time, I didn't want to listen to him. I was still going to do what I was going to do, and I still didn't have enough pain. So I went through that. And prior to that, like, I had a lot of near-death experiences. Like, I got shot. I got pistol whipped. I got dragged by a car. I OD'd, and I was just living a fast lifestyle, and I was headed nowhere fast. And in and out of treatment centers, I've been in like 11 total treatment centers.
I lost count.
Yeah, one I was at the same one about 11 times.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so, and like, I never really could understand. Like, they said, okay, you can't use anything.
Right.
Right? I
Right.
stopped using the heroin. I thought I could still do the Xanaxes. Stopped doing the Xanaxes. I thought I could still drink. But I learned that I'm a person that can't use anything.
Me
Right?
too, man.
I have to be 100% absent. I did that, and I was in and out. And then the last time that I got, clean, there was this girl. She was like, how you been? I was like, well, I'm trying to detox. And I was living in the streets, in and out of my sister's house. She would let me in and out. And I got so bad at that point, I was panhandling at the local BP to try to get enough money, to get one more. And I got clean. She took me to her trailer, and in that trailer, like, I was thinking about running off with her TV, and I was like thinking about taking her wallet out of her purse, and I started saying the Serenity Prayer over and over and over, and God met me exactly where I was at, and I was just so like baffled about like how He was able to help me get clean without being incarcerated, like, because I was never able to, and like when He showed His power, then I felt like there was some hope left.
So did you notice and like identify that was God at that point?
At that point, yeah, because I've said prayers, but nothing ever felt like this prayer is actually working. Like foxhole prayers, when I get out, God, please don't let me go. But it wasn't sincere, It says He'll give you the desires of your heart,
Yeah.
And like that was a true desire at that point, and I was crying, and He says, I hear your cry, right? I'm here for you,
Wow.
So that's where I was at. And I remember reading the scripture. It says when I was a child, I acted like a child, right? But when I became a man, I acted like a man. And I was like, this is time for me to grow up. So
Well, I say that because, a lot of times that, and I've heard it quite a bit from people, is that you can see hindsight, like later in your life, you see like, oh, this is where God intervened. But very, you hardly hear about it where someone is actually in the moment.
Yeah.
And I was there too, but like, and I noticed that was God at that point in my life. I didn't stay clean from that point. I like to say that I did. That's where I started staying clean from, but obviously I messed up again, 7-8 years down the road. But I just wanted to highlight that you actually witnessed Him working in your life right then in that moment.
Yeah, because I've been to church, right? And I don't know if my parents forced me to go to church just to get me out of their hair for a little bit.
I think it's more of like the spiritual connection, right? The church is the religious aspect of it, and a lot of people see it. Church and being Christian is like you got to go to church to be a Christian, but the church or being a Christian is just having a relationship with God. Just and the Holy Spirit's here. You know what I'm saying? He's within us. If you're a believer, yeah. So, a lot of times you hear people call like they want to bring the Holy Spirit in the room. Well, if He's in you, you don't need to call Him in the room. He's already here. Because I didn't do the church thing either, and I was baptized Catholic, but I never went to Catholic church or anything like that. And I think maybe that separates me from a lot of other people who were like forced into church and like had this like negative sense about it from a young age.
I've counseled a lot of people, and the ones that have that personal connection has the best relationship with God. You know what I mean? Like When people are forced to do it, it's not authentic. Like, when I force you to be friends with somebody, like, you're not willing. Just like if I try to force you to get clean, we can't pray over you. We
No,
can't lock you up. We can't beg you with the holy water. Like when you're ready, like that's when you're
that's
gonna
it.
have the biggest a moment of it being real. So
That spiritual awakening,
yeah, that
that
spiritual
awakening
awakening.
of the
They talk
yeah,
about it in the 12 steps.
yeah,
So I did 12 steps in Alcoholics Anonymous for 3.5 years, and when I went to that sober living, when that lady was helping me and I felt God, like I've been to a lot of sober livings before and I got kicked out of a lot of them. I'm like, it ain't gonna work. So she dope fed me and pulled up on one. And then like we got a hold of the church and the church paid the first 2 weeks from Pastor
yeah.
Jamie. And I was like, man, I had another like just the moments, right? Like
Yeah.
people still care. Like someone's willing to pay 2 weeks of sober living for me. Like I burnt every bridge. Really, like
Treating you like a human being again, because we're inside when you're at that moment of desperation, you feel like nobody cares about you. Nobody you're the bottom of the totem pole, you're the lowest possible human, that society sees as the lowest part of the totem pole. People who are in jail, people who are drug addicts. But when somebody actually, and that's why I try to be that way with people, is like being treated like a human being again, like, hey, somebody cares, even though I've done what I've done. And I think that's where the God part comes in, because even though we don't deserve anything, but his grace and his mercy is sufficient. And he places those people in our lives. They were angels that were placed in our life in seasons of our life.
yeah. It says pay attention to signs and wonders. So I'm like, wow, like that really, like I'm a person like was grateful from the start, when
Yeah.
I got sober. Like just the smallest
Me
things.
too, man.
Going to the sober living, like them, like here's some macaroni and cheese. You can have this for lunch.
I
Like
love
super grateful. Like
Yeah.
here's a cigarette. Here's a cup of coffee.
Yes.
You need a ride to a meeting. You got an extra pillow. Like, and I don't take none of that stuff for granted. And like I remember that stuff. Like and like when I first got sober, they take me out to eat, and they were like, I was prideful. Acting like but they made sure I ate. They bought me a meal, like, and they were like, and I was like, I'm gonna help you guys when I get back on my feet.
Yeah.
I'll get you back when I get on my feet. They said, no, don't worry about that. Just
Yeah.
help the newcomer. Help someone in
Help
need.
the next one.
Help the next one.
Pay it forward.
And that's what I did. And I started falling in love in the process of that sober living, just going around helping people, like
Wow.
becoming a sponsor, sponsoring people, making the meetings, sharing at meetings. And I seen a lot of people just, want too much too fast.
Yeah.
Right? Being patient, the gift of being patient and allowing God to do the work, and not receiving the blessing too soon. Like Job said, after the test, I came out like gold and refined through the fire.
Refined.
And these individuals, they get there and they want to work $1 million hours and they want the job back, the woman back. I'm like, I just want to learn how to live without the use of drugs. That's all I want. And I felt in my mind, I was behind. I was like, but I know I got to get this down first.
Right.
I got to be able to get this down first. And after a year, I went through that. I moved out for a minute with a girl. It didn't work out. Moved back into sober living for like 8 months. And then, so I had a lot of time. And I knew I needed every minute of that to get my life back. Because they said the post-acute withdrawals from benzos takes every bit of 2 years.
Yes.
My brain was like a wet brain when I first got sober. Like I had to learn social skills again. I had to learn how to read again. I had to learn how to like work and.
I forgot like what emotions were.
Yeah.
Like only like they had to show me a piece of paper that had like faces on it and showed you like and had like a name of what emotion was on each face, because I didn't even know how to feel or how to express myself. Word, from overdosing so many times, I think I lost oxygen to the brain to where like I had to like, what's that word again?
Rewire your nervous system.
100%. Like and there was 4 or 5 where I should have been dead.
You were like, let me look up that definition. Am I feeling that way?
What's that? Yeah. But
I was like that. I wanted.
Bro,
to learn.
you're telling my story.
Yeah, I wanted to learn a lot, man, and a lot of people spend a lot of time after meetings. I really sat at home just studying literature, doing step work, and trying to find out who I was. And like when they say do an inventory, it ain't just about the bad things you did. Do an inventory on what good you got as a person.
Yeah.
Because I lost track of that. I had to think there was no good left. And I'm looking for the good, and then I'm identifying the bad, and I realized I was really, a better person. I just was lost in the drug scene.
Well, and you hit the nail on the head there too with actually taking the inventory, right? Because that's all you're doing is, like you said, identifying it, putting it on the shelf,
Yeah.
and just putting it there. You're not doing nothing with it,
Yeah.
And because I've been at some 12-step here recently where and celebrate recovery and stuff like that, where they're wanting to do more, and it's like, no, the steps are in order for a reason.
Yeah.
The only thing we're doing right now is just identifying it.
Yeah.
And but that's important, man.
Yeah. And then some of your defects become your assets.
100% double-edged sword.
Double-edged sword. Like my communication skills to get the dope is the same communication skills I utilize to put together businesses, put together teams, encourage and build up my staff. And I love the fact that, we learn how to, hustle, right? We learn how to hustle hard, and the compulsion, that obsession. If we put the drugs down, there's books that say there's 2 recovering addicts can outwork 5 people.
Yeah.
And I obsess hard. When I'm passionate about something, I obsess extremely hard. Like my fiance sometimes had to tell me, slow down. Slow down, and just like put your focus on the family too.
Yep.
We need you too. Like that
It's
same energy you give that business. Can I have some of that?
Yeah, bring some of that home
And I'm
with
like,
you.
ooh. And I listen, and I'm not perfect all the time, but I do my best. So, and I remind myself, like, this is what I pray for, the family,
That's the maturity, though, that comes with having some time in recovery, too, and being able to receive that from somebody close to you instead of being like, listen, this is what pays the bills. Like, this is more important. No, there's a fine line. There's a balance that needs to be had. Cause
I know a lot of entrepreneurs, they're like, man, like, I ain't got time to be married or the family. I want to just go after
is
it
that
all.
true success? Like, you have to ask yourself that question, because why were we created? Is to create life, to have a family, to be, be able to pour into the next generation, and there's a bigger picture there. And a lot of times you see those successful people, but you got to ask yourself, and maybe that is their vision of success. I'm not doubting you. Like, what works for you might kill somebody else, or kill, but what's for me is exactly that, what you said. Like,
I mean, in treatment, it talks about the 8 dimensions of wellness. Being able to be, healthy and balanced in each one.
Yeah.
Like finances is one of them. Mental health is one of them. Emotions is one of them. Physical is one of them. Social being is one of them. Like that treats the whole person. So,
and being able to, on a daily or weekly basis, say, hey, take that inventory, right? And say, hey, where am I at with each one of these? And where do I need to work more on? And where do I need to back off on?
Because as soon as I'm doing good over here, I'm like, ooh.
Always.
I gotta
God's
get back
gonna
over
reveal
here. I gotta
something
nurture
else.
That too.
That's it, man.
And it's always that.
There's never a
It's always
certificate
that.
saying, hey, you got wellness figured out now.
Yeah.
You passed the class. No,
Yeah.
it's a continuous process of working on
Yeah,
it.
it continues for sure. So, I like that, man. Being able to be aware of that, because sometimes I could just be so in tune with work and building and creating and, like, doing what I love to do, like, and I forget about what's most important. So I make sure, like, I take that moment, that self-inventory. That's one of the greatest gifts I learned in recovery.
Yes, sir.
Reflecting at night, like,
I do it like without even knowing it now. Like at the end of the day, I'm like, do I piss somebody off today? Do I owe some amends today?
That I didn't do. And is there anything I need to make right? So meditation too. Like, it's a form of meditation, thinking about it. And I'm in this sober living, and I'm learning all this stuff. And I ended up, getting to a point like, what am I going to do legally now?
Oh yeah.
So I started on that adventure, and I tried.
You probably still had a bunch of charges pending, or
I was on probation. Yeah. See my probation officer. I give him $22.12. They're like, your payment's $100. I'm like, and a little lint. I'm like, that's all I got.
And a little lint.
All right, we'll see you next month. Stay out of trouble. And I did that, and they ended up letting me off probation earlier. And I was happy that I was off probation, because I feel like, from the first time I got on probation all the way up to that point, and I was 27 when I got clean.
Okay.
That I wasn't off probation. Like, it was literally like in jail or on probation. that whole time.
So you actually had like true freedom for the first time, like mental freedom too.
I got off probation. I got hired the next day.
Shut up.
Reservations. Like this time, I like got off probation. I'm like, no, I still want to stay clean.
Yeah.
Hey, something's working. Something greater than myself. And
Amen.
It was God. God was working, man. And I was catching the bus everywhere. I was taking a bus from like downtown to like another neighborhood, Norwood, and I was selling energy from one door to the next. And they ended up moving back to California in a Ponzi scheme, and I went to go get my check, and the whole office was cleared out.
Really?
And I'm like, just furious, upset. I called my sponsor. I said, what's going on here? He was like, well, it ain't no fun when the rabbits got the gun. That's how you felt, right? When people were working, hard for their living and you were robbing and stealing from them.
Yeah.
This is why we do what we do,
Yeah.
right? So we don't hurt people no more. And I just hung up the phone. Click.
Don't you hate it when your sponsor's right? Don't you hate
I
it?
called him back a few days later. I said, you're right, man. And it was hard for me to accept that because I didn't really have no financial help. My dad come and give me $20, and my aunt, lived around the way, but most of my family were, gone, or in a bad position themselves. So,
Right.
And at that point, I'm thinking about going back to stealing, robbing, selling drugs, and luckily I had a network to talk some sense into me,
Yeah.
restore me back to sanity. And being brave enough to be able to tell everyone exactly the way I was thinking. That's been one of my greatest tools, lower my pride, ask for help. And there's people that's willing to give you the right direction. And I went through that. And after that, I tried a window company. It failed. And I seen somebody that worked in the treatment field. And I was like, how can I do that? You sure you're going to let someone like me do that?
Yeah.
And they gave me the plan, the floor plan on how to do it. And me and my friend, we went and got our CDCAs, and we became, mentors in the field. I worked at, another facility, and then he worked at another. And then I ended up coming to working with him. And while I was there, I had a dream of opening a sober living. And I went to started going to college at that point, and I had a kid at that point. I was a single father at that point. So I started this program, Potter House Recovery. I moved in. I had a hard time coming up with the money. I took my money from school, all my checks from college, because it's hard to raise money. I know I talked to a lot of influencers, and you could raise it, but it takes a lot of creativity. Yeah. You got to really know, how and... So I got creative. I got the checks. I saved the money. I was still short on the money, and I ran around asking to borrow money, believing in this dream. And I couldn't get it off my mind, so I knew it was mine. Eventually, I had enough money, moved into sober living. And I'm like, okay, now hopefully I get enough people to move in here. I just spent my life savings on it. I got a son that's, with me full time. I'm in college. And then actually, Harold, he was my first client that's ever came through the program. So he came in, and we started running the sober living. He was the manager, and we were doing house meetings, and these house meetings would last so long, 2 hours, and I would just dig deep into everyone, right? We do, this negative and positive. We'd have everyone pick someone, right? And they'd had to be, open to the group. Tell him what he's doing right. Tell him what he's doing wrong, right? Is there anything he can work on? And it would be uncomfortable, right? But the ones that would really participate would start to blossom, as a group, as a whole. We became extremely strong. And that was one of my greatest moments in this process, is that moment, helping boys turn to men. And so that sober living turned into 9 sober livings. Now we're getting ready to expand to different counties and do more.
So all this is in your area where you're at, up in
Cincinnati, Ohio. Yep. And then,
if I'm not mistaken, because I don't know the whole big story to AA, but isn't Bill W? Is
Akron? He's from Akron.
So
Ohio.
it's in Ohio. Yeah, not that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, not too far. They do Founder Days once a year, so they travel up there a lot. They still have the house. Exactly how it was set up. And Alcoholics Anonymous, I give a lot of credit to Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. I did Celebrating Recovery. I still study the Bible. For me now, today, I just do a little bit of all of it, you know?
Yes, me too, man.
Whatever, you know, it's going to fill my spirit for that day. I could be in church up the street one day. I could be in AA. I did 2 NA meetings while I was down here. Like, but like I've took what I've learned from them rooms,
100%.
and I've applied it to my life. I see a lot of people hide behind them walls for a long time. Now I'm just real into self-development, self-growth.
Yes.
Reading a lot of books, like devouring different, you know, studies to be able to apply to what I got going on. And it's just the how, you know, always being honest, always being willing, always being open-minded. And then I got into opening a behavioral health practice. So, and it was way more complex. I didn't know what I was getting myself into, and I was just learning, and I was going. We took, that. I was the first employee, obviously.
Yeah.
And like, I had a few people that wanted to start with me, that had it really believe in the mission, and we just started building one block at a time. And now we got a huge facility down in Cincinnati, it's 8,550 square feet. We got a total of 67 employees. Like, I have one of the strongest teams. Like, I literally really believe, you know, the team is everything that you put together. The culture that you build, the integrity within, like, is going to, make or break what you build. So I was able to duplicate myself and remove myself from certain positions and hire people sometimes smarter than me, better than me. That's what I want, really.
Sure.
I want to find someone that's phenomenal at this. I want to remove myself, put them in position, and I want to slowly remove myself from the business so I can build on the business.
That's right.
That's what I'm currently doing now. And as we did this, like, we were catering from an outside company.
Okay.
So a restaurant came available upstairs, so we opened a restaurant. Now we just
So the catering was catering to the houses.
to the treatment center.
To the treatment center.
So it's a PHP day treatment. They come from the community.
Yep.
Throughout the week, and then they go back home. So, we were from a third party. Actually, someone I know by the name of Kurt, and I just got with him one day. I said, "You want to just open a restaurant upstairs, and then we can cater to ourselves, you know, walk out a dream of yours, you know, because I know." Like,
he was in the food. He was into
in
it.
the food industry.
Right.
Like, opening a restaurant is like something he's dreamed up forever.
And it'll work for everybody. One hand washes the other.
Yeah, and that was the plan, and it worked out perfectly.
Wow.
I love, like, when you envision something.
Yes.
And it works out perfectly. Like, a lot of people can't walk that out in faith, you know? They see it.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
The faith part is stepping out into it, like not knowing if it's going to work or not, but just having trust in the man.
Yeah.
And
I think that's where a lot of 90% of people don't never take that first step.
yes.
'Cause I've been around some brilliant people with some great ideas, and I'm like,
Why haven't you done
what
this
have you
yet?
been doing? You got to be bold
Man,
in your faith.
it's so crazy to like.
Especially, like, I don't claim to be like someone with a huge IQ.
Right, me too, bro.
But I'm very.
I got a GED.
Very resourceful. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm willing to sit down and learn it if I need to learn it.
Yes.
And people don't have that discipline. Even Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yep.
Robert.
Kiyosaki
Kiyosaki. He writes another book. He says, it's why A students work for C students.
Yeah.
Because they were never really able to focus in class because their mind was on what they were passionate about doing. They could never follow authority too well because they wanted to create on their own. You know what I mean? And the A student is just too perfected. Yes. Like, everything has to line up perfectly, or they won't move forward. The C student is too reserved, or the B student is too reserved. So they're relying more on the government. They want something that's 100% already locked in, set in stone. The C student is willing to take the risk.
Yep.
Willing to get kicked out of the class for being the class clown. Like, willing to create the business, and if it fails, like, they're gonna be okay with it. Like, there's the risk takers, you know. And
Well, I think you've had it. We've had enough failure, I guess, to the point where you're. How many times could you say in your life you got to the point where, like, now what do I do? I've got nothing.
Yeah.
And you got it. Like, I tell and I actually heard this in a treatment center that we went and spoke at up north. they said that we're closer to God, like addicts and alcoholics and people who have went through trials and tribulations their whole life, because, you know, there's a string that connects us to God, right? There's a string that, and everybody has this string, right? But how many times in our lives have you built this big, beautiful, you know, kind of, I call it a mansion. I used to built this big, beautiful life for myself, where I had this great job, I had, you know, place to live, I had everything, and then I would cut that string and be like, I got this.
Yeah.
Well, every single time when I went to go rebuild, God's tying that thing in a knot. And so if you got 15, 20 knots in this rope, how short is that string now? Now we're closer to God. And I never looked at it like that, you know, because you look at the Bible, how many times does he use people, murderers, killers, people who have been incarcerated, you know, and so.
I believe every real strong individual has a lot of adversity that they faced, you know. Most of the strong people I know has overcame the most strongest or difficult battles. I mean,
through the
hardest
ringer.
life, like
Yeah.
and they have the most beautiful relationship with God, because He wants to test us. He wants to see where our faith is. He wants to see if we're gonna rely on Him. And like I would have never known. Like now that you know I was going through addiction, I thought my life was over.
Yeah.
I thought when I got sober, and like, man, like I didn't know. I thought life was done. I didn't know what to do to have fun.
Right.
Come to find out that rebirth, I was, you know, just now walking into my calling. Right. Everything that I've been through was going to be able to serve
For a
His
reason.
people. And they say take care of God's children, He'll take care of you. Like now I am, you know, running a behavioral health practice. We got like 150 clients. Looking for another location to open up a residential treatment center. And we're on the battlefield every day. I'm under attack every day. I never thought like I would be under attack this much. Like it's the devil everywhere I go. Like sometimes it's someone in the community. Sometimes it's his clients and an employee. Sometimes it's the city. And I'm walking out with my shield on. And I know God's got me because I know in my heart I'm doing the right thing and I'm doing it for His people. And we're navigating through this, but like, you know, any war, you know, fight, like it's gonna take some true soldiers. So the circle that you got around you is very important, man. We're in it, you know, but like I understand lives are on the lives too. So when you're taking care of God's people, the devil's gonna be right there. I heard someone say no one's gonna rob a abandoned house. You know what I mean? They're gonna rob a house with like some jewels and like, you know, materialistic stuff that they can break in and take. Like the devil ain't gonna come after you unless you got something he wants. So, and I've experienced that. I'm like, going through, you know, through this growth stage, this unbearable like growing pains, and I'm just guarding my mind, right, at all costs. And I know, right, when you do things that aligns with God, and you walk with God, He's always gonna help you get to your destination.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And we go through this, you know, and we understand like we have to stay sober above all else. I'm convinced about that. Like that's probably one of my biggest gifts. Like I still talk to people like they're like, well, I smoke weed. And I'm like, well, if that works for you, that's fine. But I know if I smoke weed, I get paranoid like I'm smoking crack.
It'll be a while before, you know, even if it ain't the paranoia, even if it's like, even, you know, I could probably go have a beer today at the local, you know, spot. I'll be all right. But I mean, I'll obviously drink more than one.
Right.
But you know, maybe turn into once a weekend or every other weekend or whatever. But the next thing you know, man, I'm gonna be looking for some dope.
Yeah, a matter of time. Yeah.
And,
Wake up with a hangover.
And that's just me.
What cures this hangover?
Yeah.
But like I had that experience. I don't think a lot of them have that experience. Like we started trying to get clean kind of young. You know what I mean?
I was 11. You told my story, bro.
Yeah.
Like everything you walked through was exactly that.
Like all that experience happened young. Like we know. Like we're thoroughly convinced. We drink. We shoot dope.
Sometimes I tell myself too, I'm like, man, if I, because obviously I'm on a path now of growth. Like every single year, I just continuously continue to grow in all areas, like entrepreneurship, you know, family, spirituality. Every part of me continues to grow because I'm on that path and I want to be on that path. But like I kind of, there's not regret, but almost like, what if I would have started sooner?
Yeah.
Like imagine where I'd be. You know what I'm saying? Like it just. But God's got us right where we're supposed to be, and I always kind of just fall back to that, not in a way to where like I'm right where I'm supposed to be and like I'm content and I'm settled and I'm gonna stay right here, but because I always want more. Like, I feel like that's the addictive personality in
I had
me.
a God moment the other day. I went to go look at this facility, right? Huge facility, something I've been dreaming of. And I remember growing up, we were fairly poor, like, but like we would go to like my dad's sister's house, and which was my aunt and uncles. And we would go to this nice neighborhood. It felt like we were in a whole different world. And I'm like, what are they doing over here?
Oh, they're rich over here, boy. These
what
boys
are they
got
doing
some
over
money.
here? Like,
Yeah.
I come in there, like, and I was just like, I didn't know, like, people around me didn't have that type of money,
Right.
And I was like, what does he do for a living? He's a doctor, and my cousin's a doctor. They come from a long line of doctors, and I got sober, and I remember having a conversation with my dad. I was like, I'm gonna catch up to him one day, and I was just saying it, like I didn't know if it was possible.
Maybe one day I'll be here. Yeah.
I'll catch up to him one day. So I go toward his building, right?
That's speaking
Huge.
life over it, though.
Yeah, speaking life into
Yes,
your
sir.
life.
Yeah.
And I go into this building, and I'm looking to purchase it, and I see my uncle's picture on the wall. I'm like, wow.
Catching up to him.
Catching up to him. I'm like, is Mike here? Oh, he retired. But I said,
And so it was his
Andy?
building?
It was his. Well, he rented one of the offices out.
Wow.
Yeah, it wasn't his building. But my cousin was there working. And he was with a patient. I didn't get to talk to him, but I'm like, wow, that's full circle. Right?
Yeah.
How like you can really speak life and believe in something. A lot of people don't understand the power behind that. They say confidence applied correctly can surpass a genius. And I believe that wholeheartedly. If I'm confident, I believe I could do something, and I stay on target with that one goal, right? And I try not to do too much at once, because that's addicts would
Overflowing plate,
ruin
brother.
the plan.
Yeah.
Trying to do too much. Just
Yeah.
become great at one thing. I became great at sober living. It opened the door to the treatment center.
Yeah.
It opened the door to the restaurant. It's opened the door to the transportation. Now the housing, the independent housing
I love it, man.
after they can move into.
Yes.
So I just stayed right there. I knew
I love
found
it.
my calling. A lot of people, like even my stepdaughter, she said, I don't know what I want to go to college for. And once you find out what that one thing is, and you know you're right, like that right there was for me. That was
It's
the hit
purpose.
for me.
It's exactly, yeah.
Like, why am I on this earth?
It's not, purpose isn't a degree. It isn't, what you think you want to go to school for. It is, purpose is what your purpose is for you, your why. What do you wake up in the morning to do? Yeah. And your purpose can grow and change as you grow and change. Like you said, you were sober living. Then it became a treatment center. Then now it's the restaurant. Like your purpose has grown as you grew. So, and people just, that mine I was in student ministry.
Yeah.
Couldn't tell me I ever wanted to deal with kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm out there like, if I could, I can't quote scripture. I can't, tell them exactly what the Bible says word for word. But guess what? I could tell you what not to do. Right. And I got tatted up with, gold chain and a Porsche. They're listening to me. Yeah. It's not like I was trying to, and I'm not trying. I don't say that to brag about it at all, because that's something I'm
more fascinated with the Porsche than the adults. Like I remember being
but that was
kid,
something I wanted when I was a kid. I saw someone who had one, and it's like, I'm gonna have one day. Just like you said, speaking life over the situation. Yeah, and it wasn't even like, next thing you know, I'm like, man, I didn't even realize it. When I was a kid, I said I wanted this exact same car, and here it is. I'm signing the papers on it with my wife sitting next to me, and it's like, this is what, The secret, they say the secret. There's a book called The Secret, but it's speaking life over the situation. Death and life is in the power of the tongue. Those who love it will eat of its fruits. That's one of the only scriptures I can quote.
And the tame of the tongue, you tame the tongue, you keep the whole body in check. 100%. That's why I try not to speak death over my life. I try not to bring negativity around me.
What you say to people, and sometimes are better. Some things are better left unsaid. Some texts are better left unsending.
I'll just let that hang.
Delete. Had the whole thing written, ready to go. I was like, nah.
Yeah, and I deal with that a lot. I fire people, because of lack of performance. Like, they're attacking my character. We try to, provide the best center in the world, and we deal with the most vulnerable population, the most traumatized population. So, they're upset, and we work through it the best I can. But, when you are growing something, to, protect, people's lives, and they are truly hurt, like it's gonna come off the wrong way sometimes. I've learned right where people are, and I think that takes emotional intelligence to be able to remove
Well,
your
you were there
feelings.
too.
Well, there too, yeah, mad at the world, victim mentality. Of course, I'm mad at him because I don't want to look at me. Yeah. Even like people that I grew up with, like like some of them can't fathom like where I'm at today because they were never willing to chase their dreams on their own. Especially if we grew up in the same environment. They thought I'd be dead or locked up in the penitentiary as my life went now. And now, like I'm doing well, like some love you. You know what I mean? Some truly love and are compassionate about your growth. Some people can't stand to look at themselves because they see you, they see their own failures. So, but I understand. Like now, like my village, I gotta take care of, like my family. So
Talk about that just for a second too, because you touched on it twice. I heard you say something about your network and now you're talking about your village. Talk about what that looks like for you, because I think as men, like we kind of have to have that accountability group, whether it's it's our family, it's our group of men that we're involved with, whether it's our wife at home. Talk about what that looks like for you.
So I know I need people in my life that can hold me accountable, that can push me, that can make sure that I'm not getting off course, that I'm staying in line with what I say I'm gonna do. I tell like my inner circle about my goals, my rush, plans sometimes, and they tell me to slow down, do it right, and I believe in that wholeheartedly. Like it's not on, my time, it's on God's time. Roll it out correctly, and you're gonna have better fruits because of it. Like I have a conversation with my fiance every day about what's going on, and like she's a female alpha. I'm a female male, so like we clash a lot, but like it's all for the good, because she's like strong and I'm strong, and it takes a strong person to be with a strong person, and like we help each other grow, and understand like what's truly important at this moment. She's always want me to stay in the moment, and I'm always, thinking about the future. And
it's
like,
hard, man.
Being a visionary, like always thinking about what's going on, and have to make a million decisions. Like Harold, he's one of them. If I'm going through something, I check with him. I explain what's going on. I never keep nothing bottled in. I have, people that are doing what I'm doing, right? On a whole nother level, a whole nother scale, like career-wise, that I stay in communication with to help me get to where I want to go. And I really don't do the negative people at all. Like I need people that's going to fill my cup. I need people to, that's going to, call me out on my bull crap, like keep me in line. Because I run a pretty big leadership, group where, I'm constantly like pouring into my leadership.
Yes.
But I need people that can pour into me too. Like, and I'm aware of that. For me to stay healthy and have some type of balance, but like, I still go to like these masterminds.
Yep.
To be able to learn, to be able to grow, and it's hard for me to do that in my city sometimes because I'm somewhat of the big fish, in a small pond. So I'm always like venturing, into groups that can make me, stronger, wiser, sharper. Figure out what I can learn that I don't know. Like it was crazy. We were at the UFC fight last night. How God works. A guy was sitting right next to me, a D, right? And we started talking about what we do, and he was like, "You know what? I run a business, or I help run a business that has EHR systems, like the systems that clinical and medical and other departments use in the behavioral health practice." And before you know it, like we're talking about like the EHR system that he uses. Like he's giving me other information that I had no idea about. I got his number networking at the UFC fight.
That's where I'm always working.
Always talk to people. Yeah. I think a lot of people don't never get nowhere because they don't ever talk.
Or they're in that environment and they're drinking and having a good time and partying.
Yeah,
like
I'm looking for the opportunities.
She goes out to have a glass of wine at the marketing place, and I'm getting contracting jobs from people, like just that's just the way I am, man. I'm always working.
Networking. And it's a skill.
It is. Plus, you get to meet cool people. You get to, you know what I mean? Like it's like I don't know. experiencing life in those situations. Like I still have just as much fun as her, like I still hang out. Like
I'll go all day long.
That's it.
Any
give me a Red Bull, and as long as I can stay awake, I'll be all right.
Yeah, as long as I'm awake. Because they were drinking, they were drinking out there a lot, and I found it fascinating just to be able to be present in the moment. And like
someone like me in this big arena environment, someone who couldn't even afford anything.
Yeah, and it's funny because it goes back to my first car in recovery was a 1990 Dodge Spirit.
Okay.
And I spent $300 on it. This lady, she said, "I got a car for you." I've been taking the bus for months. Taking the public transportation metro for months. And she was like, "All right, pay me $100 installment, and
nice.
Pay me, $200 more the next 2 months." So I was like just super excited. That was like my most exciting moment. Like
humble too. Yeah.
And the car, the glass on it, right, and the passenger window had plastic. Like the stereo was broke. I had my radio, right, which was my phone, on top of the dashboard. And I would go around, I'd pick people up, and I'd take them to meetings. And it was God's vehicle. It wasn't mine. It was just a lender. And, I really enjoyed that vehicle. And then it broke down. The head gasket broke on me, and I'm like, wow, it's just one of the moments. So as soon as I thought I had, part of this worked out, figured out, God, no, right? I'll give you a little taste of it, and I'll have you work more so you appreciate it a little bit more. And a lot of people have a hard time reframing their mind like that.
It's all about perspective.
Oh, the car broke up or broke down. I got to go get high,
Yeah.
They run to what they're used to instead of pouring into doing something different. And at that moment, I wasn't going to allow anything to stop me, And once you get them small wins, you start developing confidence. And now, I'm putting out fires every day. I mean, I get phone calls, navigating this, working through this, understanding, something bad's going to happen today, and that's okay.
Yeah.
A lot of bad's going to happen today, and that's okay.
People don't realize that it doesn't get easier just because you start doing the right thing. It actually gets harder. You're going to be attacked more when you change your life to do, especially if you're coming from the bottom, right?
Yeah.
Like I was in a negative hole. Like I dug a hole deep. Yeah. So I was, even just to get to an average level was going to take me a while to get to. So we didn't get this way overnight, right?
They say a life that, the hardest thing is a life that continuously gets better.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that at first.
Yeah.
And them early days were easy. Hard to learn how to live without the use of drugs, but not really that much responsibilities.
Right.
They're just wash the dish, put it up.
Yeah.
I leave it in the sink, you know what I mean?
Wash the dish, put it up.
I didn't understand why that was important.
Yeah.
Make your bed. I'm like, for what? I'm going to sleep in it later anyway.
Right.
And I had people, real people hold me accountable for them small details.
Explaining you why it's important.
Yeah, explain why.
Yeah, it's responsibility. It's making sure it's keeping your house clean. It's keeping you clean. It's turning you into a better person.
Yeah, I remember calling my sponsor. I was like, man, I ain't got a job. I'm sitting here. Everyone's gone. What should I do? He said, wash every window in the house. I said, wash every window in the house. I thought he was joking.
Yeah.
He was dead serious. Wash every window
Did you do it?
I went and did it. I went and got the Windex. I got the rag out. I started washing every window in the house.
3 o'clock, everybody's back. You're like, wow, what a thought.
They didn't even notice it.
Yeah.
The windows weren't even that bad. Just doing stuff to keep me outside of my own head.
Yes, sir.
It was important because when I go, upstairs on my own, it's a bad place. I was the last person I got high with. So they tell us don't go upstairs unsupervised. And I could really relate with that. My best thinking got me in some horrible situations.
Yes.
But after being around for a while, you develop, some discernment. You learn after you put a lot of this stuff into practice, and you can rely, on yourself more and be more trustworthy. But in the beginning, that wasn't the case. I needed someone around me. I was scared.
Well,
just to walk through the hood by myself. I would hop on the phone with my network. Just talk to me, while I walk through here. Keep my mind occupied.
Yeah. That's hard I think, I was different in that same way that you are, because you feel like a lot of people feel like they're burdening others by picking up the phone and calling them. But my first sponsor, old school NA sponsor, was like, hey, call me every single day for 30 days. He's like, if you miss a day, guess what? You start over.
Right.
Like, so it was, you know, it was to see if I was really in it, if I, you know, to see if I was really willing to do the work. And it took me like 90 days to call him for 30 days straight. But, you know, it taught me that, number one, to pick up the phone. And even if I was like, hey, I'm just checking in today, you know, everything's good. He's like, all right, you made your call for the day. Or it turned into a 30-minute, 45-minute conversation. It was still getting used to using that phone. And I'm the same in the way that, like, I'm in my group chat for my Bible study. Like, guys, pray for me. You know, the washing machine just broke. Like, I need to wash my clothes, you know, like, and people are like, man, Jonnie, you tell us everything. Like, but the devil don't got nothing on me because of it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm releasing all of that. And like you said, you're walking through, just talk to me. I just need somebody to talk to. I'm walking through this, but you know, that's important. And all of the things that somebody poured into you, you are now pouring into somebody else because you didn't know anything about just keeping your mind busy by washing windows. But now you have created an environment, a platform, a foundation for other young men and women to release the same information to them so that it can help them. Yeah. So it's crazy that iron sharpens iron, that you know, how it just rolls downhill, that butterfly effect of you helping one person now helps 20 other people.
Yes, wow.
You know what I'm saying?
And where I'm from, like, I can't go to a store without running into some person that I had some type of impact in.
That's awesome.
Impact in on their life, or a person
money can't buy that, man.
That needs my help.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Because they slipped up, and like, you know, I mean, everywhere. I mean, and like, that's why I love my city so much. Like the love there is undeniable. You know, there's probably about 80% of people that just like really have like a real true impact on my soul. You know, and then there's some people that hate, and that's okay too. But money can't buy that. I'm talking about, I run into moms, like, yeah, they tell me about their son still doing good. And like, you know, they remind me of like that time when they were calling me every week, like, what should we do? What should we do? What should we do? And then he takes off, he cuts that corner, and becomes like their baby boy again, you know? And I'm like, man, that's what it's about, you know? And like, I get to a point where I'm building a team and they're taking care of the clients, and I'm not interacting with the clients no more, but why I started it, right, was teach recovery, you know. And
but the same fulfillment you receive now, the people that are a part of your team are receiving it. And even though it's a job for them, that's still, you've received fulfillment working in that field.
Oh, it's their refuge.
100%.
They found purpose.
Yes.
The man finds purpose. Man finds a new life.
Amen.
And I was reborn again. Selfish, self-centered, you know. Very, you know, all out for myself. If I did something for you, I thought, you know, that you eventually were. You
got to get me something back.
Yeah. Keep it count.
Yeah.
And now, like, I don't keep count.
I don't want nothing.
Don't let the left hand know what the right hand is.
How much is this? Close your eyes. That's how much it is. Yeah. But we're blessed now. You know what I mean? And I think to be a blessing to others, you have to be blessed, and God kind of sets you up for that. I'm paying taxes. I never had to pay taxes. I always got an income tax return.
That's
like,
whole nother game.
like, we got a whole other podcast for that. But like, just not knowing, like, nobody ever taught me about taxes. Nobody ever taught me about any of this stuff. And so, like, obviously learning the hard way is still, you can call it failure, you call it whatever you want, but you know. Yeah,
well, that says in the Bible too. It talks about tithing, you know. It's one of my favorite scriptures, Malachi 3:10. It says, try me. The only place in the Bible it says try me. When you give your time, your talent, your money, when you do something for someone else, he said he's going to he's going to open up a window from heaven. He's going to overflood you with so much blessings, it's going to be hard for you to contain on your own. Like, you got to give it away.
Yes,
you know?
Yes. Stewardship.
And once you get it, it's like, all right, how can I not spoil my kids, right? Teach them how to cherish everything like I cherish everything. Teach them how to have a stronger work ethic like I do, but still make sure like they enjoy the fruits of this labor too. Right. Like, so that's kind of hard. So I got my son downtown. We're sitting, you know, we're posted up with a cooler with the water. All right, and then we'll go buy 24 bottles of water. How much did it cost? You got a loan for this, right? We're gonna go down there and sell the water. And he's like, you know, hey, I got a water for $2 and. Like, and then I show him how much money he made, and then he goes buys a toy, and I'm like, that's, contribution from your hard work, you know? Yeah. So now Summer's cutting around. He said, we can go sell water, Dad. So we're going to go sell some water.
Yes.
And teach them. Yeah. And I think
that's awesome.
That's the biggest gift you can give someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was selling warheads.
On your podcast, or one of your podcasts, you said, give a man a fish, right?
Yes.
He'll eat for one day. Teach him how to fish, right? He'll be able to eat the rest of his life.
It's empowerment. That's what we're out to do. It's not showing somebody, because I'm even in the construction industry. Mm-hmm. There's not kids lining up to do the type of work that we're doing. So we got to be patient. They're not who we were. And they used to just cuss at me and tell me to pick up the shovel and go over there and dig. It wasn't like this whole like pampered lifestyle. Now we're like, oh, it's okay. Like, it's just go over and get, take the dirt and shovel it over there. And so there's a lot more patience that goes with it. But, we want to empower folks today. We want to be able to not take the shovel from them and show them how to do it. We want to allow them to learn how to do it on their own. Yeah. And that takes patience, and that takes, being able to tolerate the situation. And like I said, we have to be that as leaders. So we're training our leaders to be that. We're training them to be patient. We're training them to.
There's a leadership book that I read, and they break down different leadership skills, and the pace setter is the most, effective one, where people just want people to catch up to exactly where they're at, and that's not realistic.
No, I want them to be better than me. Yeah, better. Grow to be past where I'm at. Take my job. That's what I want.
What should I do for college? I'm like, well, I think you should go for business, and then once you get that degree, you should find a business that you want to open one day. Go work and help that business, right? Run that business. Learn the internal works of that business, then start your own business.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what I would do, right?
Yeah.
That's what you want to know. Like, that's what you should do. Like, 1% of the world that are entrepreneurs do way more better than any other college, degree. College creates careers, which I'm all for it if that's what you want to do. Entrepreneurship ain't for anyone. It's endless war.
I think entrepreneurship is a mindset too. I don't even necessarily think that I think it's born. I guess you could say it's born in. Everybody has the opportunity to be an entrepreneur, but not everybody takes that and runs with it. And I would say like you don't even need to own a business to be an entrepreneur. Like I said, in middle school, my mom used to get a pack of warheads from Sam's, which is kind of like Costco. I don't know what you guys got up north, but. But and then I would take the individual packets with the individual warheads, and one of those little packs I would make like $3 off of. When the whole pack of warheads was like $8. You know what I'm saying? So I was already thinking entrepreneurship spirit. In Little League, we couldn't afford to go on the trip to the Dominican Republic to go play baseball. So my mom was like, "Well, we can't afford it. Maybe you should look for somebody to sponsor you." I'm like, "All right." So I put a little folder together with baseball cards in it, showing people the last 5-6 years I played baseball, and saying that, hey, printed a little paper out. My name's Jonnie. I want to go to Dominican Republic, play baseball, and went to all the car dealerships right here on US 1. I got like double the money. You know what I mean? And that's what I tell people today. Like, oh, my daughter wants to be sponsored for a dance class. Well, tell her to come in and sell it. I like helping people, but I like seeing face to face. Like, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I got going on. Same thing. Me and my wife were at Sam's last weekend. These girls are selling bags of potato chips for their cheerleading, and only thing I had was $100. I said, well, what do you guys got going on? And they were cheerleaders, I guess, is what was their thing. And I gave them $100 and never seen anybody happier, but that's what, God put that on my heart, and it's not whether it was my last $100 or the first $100. It was like,
to help them get to their goal. I love supporting young people like that.
Yeah.
I see them all the time in my neighborhood,
Yeah.
Selling cookies or doing water,
Like sometimes I don't even want the donuts. I'm trying to eat healthy right now, but you guys go ahead. Yeah.
Take the money.
Yeah.
Get the donuts to someone else.
That's it.
Yeah, so
what do you got going on now? What's going on right now?
What I got going on now? So I'm doing a lot of looking into expanding the behavioral health practice. So I'm trying to find the right building. So I'm working with a lot of realtors. I'm working with my broker. I'm getting ready to sell my personal house and move my family in something nicer, and it's a nice house as it is. And that's getting ready to transpire. So I'm expanding the sober livings. I'm looking for a second location to take the restaurant to. That's what I'm currently doing, man. And I'm just trying to, understand like how to, do it where we can scale it, keep everything healthy, balanced, not overwork, the current staff I have, to be able to continue to hire people on and get them trained correctly and not burn out, everyone that's on the team. So it's just slowly growing
Right.
one day at a time, making sure that I'm staying in line with, what I need to do as a person to stay healthy, maintaining it all. So yeah, but yeah, it's pretty cool because I find myself, just working nonstop, and
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Wouldn't change it for the world, but that's what I'm looking for: a residential treatment center to have a medical detox. 30-day residential treatment center. And I want to be able to, do that sooner than later. So
Okay. Where can people find you?
they can find me, my personal brand, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Chuck Day,
We're gonna throw all the links in the bio. So
and then on our website for the treatment center is PotterhouseTreatment.com. So we help everyone in Ohio. We help people outside of our state.
okay.
We've got people coming from Carolina. We got people coming from the Carolinas, and then there was a couple other states. So even if you don't live in Ohio, you need a different change of environment.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get you there. We'll fly you there. We'll put you in a Greyhound. We'll get you there in a heartbeat. Our website for our restaurant is Potterhouse Cafe and Hibachi.
Okay.
Very unique restaurant.
Yeah.
The restaurant is a fusion restaurant, so we got American cuisine, and then we
Nice.
got hibachi too.
Nice.
And then we got breakfast.
That's like a new thing, the fusion thing. I've been seeing that a lot of places now.
Yeah,
'Cause it's just a plethora of everything.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's taking to the community well. We got our own yum yum sauce that we're getting ready
Wow.
to bottle up, and try to
You
put
gotta
it
you
on
gotta
the
send some of
market.
that down once you get it
I
going.
got you. Yeah. I'll definitely
Yeah.
UPS it to you, man.
Dude,
It's
I
gonna
would
be
love to. I
delicious.
love. We go to Hibachi. The Yum Yum sauce is where it's at.
Yeah. So we got to figure out how we're going to market it, how we're going to get it in the shelves at Kroger's, Walmart's, So that's a
Where
whole
there's a
nother,
will,
like,
there's a way.
that's a whole nother okay, how do I figure this out? So
Yeah.
we're doing our research. We're getting ready to hit the Findlay Market in Cincinnati too. Be able to pop up tent. We got a big palooza going on downtown Cincinnati, Fountain Square, where we invite all the treatment centers. Last
Okay.
year was huge. We had about 50 providers out there, different treatment providers.
Wow.
We had the vice president's mom speak. She's in recovery. Beverly Vance,
Wow.
JD's mom, and she shared a
Really?
powerful story. She's from Middletown, not too far from Cincinnati.
Wow.
They grew up extremely poor. He's seen his mom, go through it, with her drug addiction, her alcoholism, and I love the movie. Have you ever seen the movie about JD Vance?
No.
It tells his story about Middletown, Ohio, and she shared a powerful story. She's helped a lot of my personal close network because she works at the treatment center, and she's a nurse, and she talks about how proud she is of her son.
Yeah.
Just thankful to have that relationship back with her
Yeah.
son. I can relate, with me and my daughter. Thankful to have that relationship, and her son's, the vice president of the
Yeah.
United States.
Yeah.
So that's big. That's our third year we're doing that. So yeah, they can find us on our website or social media.
Awesome. We'll definitely put all the links in there in the bio. And man, I really appreciate you coming on. I really appreciate awesome conversation. Like I said, I feel like you told my story
Yeah.
like, year to year and everything, man. So super grateful for the opportunity. Super grateful that you got to make it, man. And then thanks. Is there anything else you want to say?
I think that's all. No, I appreciate you for being patient with me. I can definitely relate, to our conversation, to your story, my story, and I want to be able to be a part of what you got going on. Even though if
100%.
I'm in, Cincinnati, Ohio. When I touch down in Florida, I'll reach out and see what else we can do together.
Yes, sir. Definitely. Anything I can do to help your mission, I'm on board with as well.
Okay, yeah, we'll be in conversation for sure.
Thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Discipline and Legacy. We'll see you on the next one.